Happy New Year! 2025 tomorrow. Stock market's closed. Want to do a trade review. Mainly just to document the action from today. It was one of those mornings where I woke up. Everything was kind of coming into my wheelhouse. I was a bit overwhelmed. So instead of kind of picking my spots and just missing stuff, I threw on screen record and recorded all the action. So whatever I was trading, caught live executions. Whatever I wasn't trading, I got to watch price action. So very busy day. All the prep from last night came to fruition. Shout out, was it Ryan, I believe, on Twitter. He said he would have missed the trades without watching the watch list last night. So congrats to him. And yeah, very busy day. So let's get into it. The back burner names, GRRR and INTZ, I didn't touch just because everything else was so active. Does center point require 30k USD for Canadians too? I don't know what the requirements are. I have over that in my account, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what the requirements are. I don't like having trading little small accounts, so I'm not much help there. But reaching out to their customer service. If you reach out today, they obviously won't get back to you till the end of the week, but just given the holiday, but they are very helpful and they respond pretty quick. So GRRR and INTZ were back burners. There was enough on watch today that I didn't need to go into the back burner watches. Let's see, where do we start here? Let's start with LODE. LODE gapped up into $1. I got a small stop out there in pre-market. It was fading versus VWAP all morning. And right before the open, it broke prior day's highs. So I had to stop. That was my plan. And that was the last hurrah before failing. So I put some on there right after the open and got a nice 30 cent flush right off the open. Covered in the lows. I reacted into... This was a bit too much too soon and bought the dip and sold for a nice little wallet pad, 5 cent, 6 cent move. I did not touch it the rest of the day. This $1 to 75 cent move was what I expected to be the meat of the move. I didn't expect it to go to 60. So I did not touch it for a reshort on that bounce. FFIE, chopped myself up a bit more than I would have liked here in the morning. Let it pull back, shorted, risking highs, stopped me out, immediately failed, reshort, stopped out versus highs. So I had 2 full-size stops that put me fairly red on this ticker. And then once we had this hard crack, my typical rule is 3 times. If I'm wrong on the 3rd time, then I won't touch it. So this was my last bullet. I was half size here, didn't go full size. Covered, reshorted, covered, reshorted, reshorted, covered. Obviously covered about $1 too soon. But I ended up, I was slightly red on this one still, just given the full size stops there in the morning. And I didn't get back to full size on this backside. I was just a bit frustrated. I was going pretty heavy, fairly convicted in this thing to fail today, and kind of forced my bias off open. Obviously, proper risk. Hindsight would have been pre-market highs, but it was just a bit wide. So my plan was to just enter and cut. I didn't expect it to happen 2 times, and if it happened a 3rd time, I would have been really red on this one. So I ended up going with the smaller size and wider risk. I wasn't going to stop out through highs. I was going to let it kind of push and pull through. And then that ended up never seeing higher. So this would have been the time to go full size. So ended up screwing that one up a little bit, but I had a bunch elsewhere that made up for it and had a banner day. Probably up there with best day of the year for me. RVSN, exact same thing. Gap down, pop versus red to green. I let it do its thing. This one came pre-market, 8 a.m., massive rollover, 240 down to 140. I started hitting it into weakness just because you could see this major resistance. I was anticipating becoming support. So the lower this went, I was going to keep adding. There was no news. It was just a panic sell. So I was fairly convicted in how these candles were expanding and volume starting to pick up. This is a very high odds trade. So this one put me nicely green on the morning. Wasn't huge size, but was a full R and got a nice bounce. Let it push off the open and fail off a red to green. Shorted versus high of days. VWAP kept holding, so I covered, and nice little rollover trade there. OPTT was a monster for me today. Biggest one of the day. Multi-day runner up from 30 cents to 140. We got the big blow-off gap I was looking for, in addition to that morning spike. Morning spike, hard crack, lower highs, joining versus VWAP. So right here, I'm short, risking the highs. Once we break down under prior consolidation, I add, move risk down to here. We get a nice big flush. I cover up 100% right there into the 90s. And then right over here, I'm leaning back into it with 110s as a guide. And then on these scales here through low a day, I'm basically looking for it to fail. If it doesn't fail, then I need to cover. But I was basically just hammering it, forcing it lower, and then covering into that red roll. This one was the biggest trade of the day. Absolutely monster opportunity. I was trading this one live in IU, making my call outs, levels, trade plans, all of it. I was also on the broadcast this morning laying out my plans and stuff like that. HOLO, this one was a bit tough. Same kind of thing as FFIE. I get short here in pre-market. Once we get this rejection off of VWAP and high a day, I scale, move risk to highs, get a nice flush red, so I cover, get a buck a share. And typically, these hard cracks, and once they're red, this thing's now on its third day, first time going red, so I'm leaning pops, stays firm, size back out. Try it one more time with high day risk, and it swipes me through. So I ended up giving back that morning gain on those couple stops. And I see it go to 9, so I'm nice and happy. And to see it a bit later, this bounce here was probably the short. But I wasn't focused on it. I was focused elsewhere on the other 100 names I was trading. But wild unwind from the highs, $5 a share. Just insane. So a missed opportunity here, but is what it is. REKR, this one was my second best trade of the day. We get 1, 2, 3 days of extension and massive overhead with bag holders right nearby. Short, scale red, cover the flush, rescale pops. I start hammering the lows kind of like I did on OPTT where I wanted to see it fail. It didn't, but I stuck to my stop, which was 190. So came within a penny, ended up rolling over, stuck to my game plan, and paid handsomely. Nice rollover again, covered about 10, 20 cents too soon, but caught the meat of the move. So yeah, between OPTT to the short side, LODE long and short, REKR to the short side, RVSN long and short, monster day. FFIE is the main one that I would consider myself underperforming. Even HOLO, I don't mind the stops off the open, and then just not watching it was not watching it here after the failed follow through setup. I just didn't have it on radar after my stop, seeing it go to 9. So that one's not really on me. I don't know if I would have taken it if I was watching it, but I just took it off radar. FFIE was on me. Just incorrect trade plan, incorrect timing, and fighting it a bit too much in the morning while it was doing its 15 minutes of chop off the open. So this one's definitely a miss in my book. So room to improve there. Would have been a lot more frustrated if there wasn't so much else to make up for the day. But nice day, nice trading nonetheless. Yeah, I saw it on the website, but I'll reach out to them. By the way, FFIE was good short today. Love the way you do it. Happy New Year. Do you have a preference, long or short in general? Naturally, I kind of want to say short. I have more conviction to the short side. I think I trade roughly 60% short, 40% long. So I'm fairly close 50-50. I don't think I get as much size to the long side. I'm pretty sure like my biggest win and biggest loss are to the short side. So I'd probably say to the short side. That's where I'm most convicted. But, yeah. Okay, so other than those trade reviews, LPSN hit scan for me this evening. Same kind of daily I've been looking at. Kind of like REKR, where you get that doji top day, look for a gap up into prior day's range. So I'd be looking for shoves back up into 160, 170, and look for those 140 fails for a possible low ones fade. So I will keep that one on watch. The quantum names, I likely don't trade them. They're just too choppy, not a whole lot of range anymore. If I was to pick one, it would probably be Qubit. This one's showing relative weakness, daily failed follow through, and closing right on its daily 10 moving average. These higher lows starting to fail. So if I wanted to short the sector, it would be something like this. Color. Right here. Prior breakout level here in the 3s. Flushed out right to it. So if I could get a weak open towards $3 and look for a bounce back to 4, that could be a watch there on Thursday. ABAT, same kind of deal. Big multi-day runner, multi-days of fade. We'll look for prior resistance to become support. I'd like to see this extend from this 270 to 3 area. So ideally, an exhaustion gap down for that reversal. Otherwise, I would just leave it be. SES, even though so many of these names were fading off to lows on these extended daily charts, this one continues to support looking left levels. You got these wicks, so this just gives me more confidence to the long side, looking for that breakout over the 250s. Definitely a buyer in here on these sub 2 flushes. Very interested in a long trade on that one. Any of these recent multi-day runners, LODE, FFIE, RVSN, OPTT, NXU, HOLO, REKR, INTSI, all of these things, I'll keep on watch for backside bounces for screen days. If we can get any sort of action like this for a morning panic, I'd react to any downside parabolics like that. So no more real shorts. Like OPTT is still up 17%, but it did retrace all the way back to its 4 EMA, so that was enough range for me not to really look to short it anymore. But I would be looking lower the better long side on these. Any sort of fast extension to the downside that I can react to. Otherwise, look for steady fades for another day or two and possible backside bounces. Those would be the plans on there. Other than that, LPSN is the only one that really hit scan this evening that's new. So it would be LPSN and SES, probably my main two. And then the other couple I mentioned. What's your typical trigger for an overextended gap up, failed fall through, hard crack, lower high, or when support becomes resistance? Does it change if there is not strength off the open or a big pre-market fade off? Exactly. Yeah, I've got, like, OPTT is probably the best example. If you're looking at this overextension gap up, you do get that parabolic that I know some people were using looking left levels to short into strength. That's not really my style. I prefer to see some sort of weakness to join. So in this case, let it do its thing off open. You get that hard crack right to low a day, lower high. So now this is a short entry for me. Hard crack, lower high, risk on high a day. So I'm short 120s, risking 130s, 10, 15 cents. And plan for me was a scale through lows, opening range lows breakdown, because now it's weak. And now I have a double top resistance off VWAP that I can use as a guide on scales. So now hard crack, lower high, can pyramid in over here, moving risk down, as long as I'm proactively covering flushes, because now I have larger size. So I want to be covering the flushes and looking to rescale pops. And now a failed follow through entry is of interest for me. I can pull up, let me see. If I pull up this for you guys. So these are my comments over in IU. I just filtered by myself. So I lay out my plans here in pre-market. I'm commenting on names that I'm watching. And then right here, 10:11 a.m., OPTT might need some time to digest. That was a fast fail, but pops versus 110 should still act as a top if this wants lower later. And then right around here, 10:48, check it, OPTT following a plan to a T of that 110s retest and fail off of it. So those were the plans on that one. And if we go back to the chart, so the timestamps on those were 10:11 and 10:48. So 10:11 was right around here. So I was looking for this to exhaust into 110s, which is exactly what we got. Prior support becoming resistance. And then once it confirmed fail fall through, we got this prior low, broke down, short, short, and now we've got hard crack, lower high, the exact same thing that happened over here. Scale, 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 and then once we're going red, I'm hammering, looking for that flush. Proactive covers because now I'm huge size, outsized risk versus a 110s level. So now I'm covering flushes immediately because now I have huge size. So to keep myself patient for that big rollover. So I hope that helps. But any sort of failed follow through where prior resistance becomes support, not that it just cracks, but we get that 110 crack. This could have easily grinded back all the way to high a day, but once it acted as resistance, now we get confirmed failed fall through here or a hard crack lower high. But any of these are entry ideas for me on overextended gap ups, looking for opening range breakdowns, prior support to become resistance, hard crack, lower high, risk off highs, stuff like that. I remember when HOLO ran huge like a year ago. It was my biggest loss as a newbie. Oh, wow, yeah. That's insane. Breakout. Double top breakout. Pretty funny. Look at that. Never seen higher. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. We got Stuff and Such, Happy New Year. Golan, Happy New Year. Tina, Happy New Year. Yeah, for you East Coasters, ringing it in about an hour. For me, I've still got 4 hours. We'll see if I make it that far. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there. I think that was a good review session. I just wanted to document the action from today. Only a couple watches going into Thursday. Just a reminder, day off tomorrow for New Year's. And January 9th as well for you Americans and your president that died. They put a day off for him as well. Happy New Year, Bottle Rocket. Jeff Stewart, Happy New Year. Chris B, Happy New Year. Stuff and such helped a lot. Thank you. No problem. New York City. Nice. Go watch the ball drop downtown. That's awesome. Enjoy. Alrighty. Take it easy, guys. Have a great New Year. Have a safe New Year. Don't do anything stupid. And let's look to have the best year ever in 2025. And I will see you guys back again next year. Getting where we fit in, make some memories, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.